Hey everyone, it's Miss Owens. I hope everybody's doing well. I really miss seeing you guys. I miss your faces. I've been stuck here in my house, just like everyone else maybe, trying to help my own kids learn, trying to stay in touch with my teacher friends, Miss Weiser, Miss Dyer. Shout out to everybody. And what we've been doing at home is a lot of learning, and I have a lot of kids here. And there are 7 children in this house that need a lot of schooling. And we found a book this week that we loved that had very similar message to what I've been telling my kids. And it's called It Could Always Be Worse. And so I'm going to read it to you because I know we're all stuck in our house, but it could always be worse. By Margot Zmak. Might be saying that wrong, I'm not sure. And it's a Yiddish folk tale retold. And here are some pictures to go along with it. I'll show them to you. They're kind of cool. A lot of people, one-room house. Once upon a time in a small village, a poor, unfortunate man lived with his mother, his wife, and his 6 children in a little one-room hut. Because they were so crowded, the man and his wife often argued. The children were noisy and they fought. In winter, when the nights were long and the days were cold, life was especially hard. The hut was full of crying and quarreling, and one day when the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it anymore, he ran to the rabbi for advice. I don't know about you, but that sounds a little bit like my house during coronavirus quarantine. Holy Rabbi, he cried, things are a bad way with me and getting worse. We are so poor that my mother, my wife, my 6 children and I all live together in one small hut. We are too crowded and there's so much noise. Help me, Rabbi. I'll do whatever you say. The rabbi thought and pulled on his beard, and at last he said, Tell me, my poor man, do you have any animals? Perhaps a chicken or 2? Yes, said the man. I do have a few chickens, also a rooster and a goose. Ah, fine, said the rabbi. Now, go home and take the chickens, the rooster, and the goose into your hut to live with you. Yes, indeed, Rabbi, said the man, though he was a bit surprised. The poor, unfortunate man hurried home and took the chickens, the rooster, and the goose out of the shed and into his little hut. And look what happened. Crazy. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was worse than before. Now with the quarreling and crying, there was honking, crowing, and clucking. There were feathers in the soup. The hut stayed just as small, and the children grew bigger. And they probably ate a lot of food, because that's what my kids do. When the poor, unfortunate man couldn't stand it any longer, he again ran to the rabbi for help. Holy Rabbi, he cried, see what a misfortune has befallen me. Now, with the crying and quarreling, with the honking, clucking, and crowing, there are feathers in the soup. Rabbi, it couldn't be worse. Help me, please. The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, Tell me, do you happen to have a goat? Oh, yes, I do have an old goat, but he's not worth much. Excellent, said the rabbi. Now go home and take the old goat into your hut to live with you. Ah, no, do you really mean it, Rabbi? Cried the man. Come, now, my good man, and do as I say at once, said the rabbi. I mean, at least we don't have feathers in our soup. At least, I hope you don't. The poor unfortunate man tramped back home with his head hanging down and took the old goat into his hut. I bet his wife thought he was crazy. When some days or a week had gone by, life in the little hut was much worse. Now, with the crying, quarreling, clucking, honking, and crowing, the goat went wild, pushing and butting everyone with his horns. The hut seemed smaller. The children grew bigger, and when the poor unfortunate man couldn't stand it another minute, he again ran to the rabbi. The poor unfortunate man trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. Oh, I might have skipped the page, sorry. Here we go. Holy Rabbi, help me, he screamed. Now the goat is running wild, and my life is a big nightmare. The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, Tell me, my poor man, is it possible that you have a gave it away, a cow? Young or old, it doesn't matter. Yes, Rabbi, it's true, I have a cow, said the poor man fearfully. Go home then, said the rabbi, and take the cow into your hut. Oh no, surely not, Rabbi, cried the man. Do it at once, said the rabbi. So, like I said, he trudged home with a heavy heart and took the cow into his hut. Is the rabbi crazy? He thought. Can you check out his wife there? She's not happy. Not happy. Well, when some days or a week had gone by, life in the hut was very much worse than before. Everyone quarreled, even the chickens. The goat ran wild, the cow trampled everything. The poor man could hardly believe his misfortune. At last, when he could stand it no longer, he ran to the rabbi for help. "Holy Rabbi," he shrieked, "help me, save me, the end of the world has come. The cow is trampling everything and there's no room even to breathe. It's worse than a nightmare." The rabbi listened and thought, and at last he said, "Go home now, my poor unfortunate man, and let the animals out of your hut." "I will do it right away," said the man. Could you imagine all those animals in your house? The poor unfortunate man hurried home and let the cow, the goat, the chickens, and the goose and the rooster out of his little hut. And that night the poor man and all his family slept peacefully. There was no crowing, no clucking, no honking. There was plenty of room to breathe, and the very next day the poor man ran back to the rabbi. "Holy Rabbi," he cried, "you have made life sweet for me. With just my family in the hut, it's so quiet, so roomy, so peaceful. What a pleasure." Right? So, we're stuck at home, but it could always be worse. Miss you guys. Hope to see you soon. Bye.